This time on Sparks of Discovery, we'll explore Alabama's very own island town, Dauphin Island. We'll begin by making our way to the eastern end of the island, where we'll get up close and personal with the local marine life at the Alabama Aquarium.
Afterward, we'll visit a pair of historic forts guarding the entrance to Mobile Bay, which was the site of a significant Civil War battle, and learn about the origin of the U.S. Navy's infamous battle cry.
We'll also enjoy delicious meals at two local restaurants before taking a siesta at a beautiful city park.
Moving on, we'll see more of Dauphin Island's natural side, exploring a large bird sanctuary and taking a relaxing walk through Indian Shell Mound Park.
Finally, we'll finish off our weekend with a walk on the beach, enjoying the view that makes Dauphin Island known as Alabama's sunset capital.
All this and more on Discovering Dauphin Island.
I'm Jess. And this is Price. We're the Sparks.
Welcome to Sparks of Discovery.
Dauphin Island is located in Mobile County on Alabama's Gulf Coast, about 3 miles south of the mainland.
It's connected to the rest of Mobile County by a single bridge which welcomes you with a scenic view of the island as you approach.
The island is 14 miles long, but only 1 3/4 of a mile wide at its widest point. It's home to approximately 1,800 people and is split into 2 distinct areas.
The eastern end of the island is the widest part and is where most of the signature attractions are located. The western portion of the island is much narrower and has the best beaches and most of the vacation rentals and condos.
One of the biggest attractions on Dauphin Island is the Alabama Aquarium, which is part of the Dauphin Island Sea Lab.
The aquarium is home to over 100 species of marine life, all of which are found in the waters of Alabama's Gulf Coast and River Delta. Jess's favorites were the seahorses, which are admittedly kind of cute.
Price was more interested in the larger tanks, which had an assortment of species, including red snapper and whatever this thing is. Outside, there's a boardwalk that goes down to the waterfront with some informative displays along the way.
There are also some interactive exhibits out front for kids to enjoy. While the Alabama Aquarium isn't anything like the Georgia Aquarium or New Orleans Aquarium, it is still a very nice facility. Honestly, the fact that we even have an aquarium was a pleasant surprise for us.
Just across the street from the aquarium lies another of Dauphin Island's attractions, Fort Gaines. Fort Gaines was built in 1821 and played a pivotal role in defending Mobile Bay from attack, along with Fort Morgan on the opposite side of the bay.
During the Battle of Mobile Bay in the Civil War, it was just offshore that Admiral Farragut of the Union Navy is supposed to have said the famous quote, "Dang the torpedoes, full speed ahead." Except he didn't say dang.
His fleet was attempting to sail past the forts to land an army, but the lead ship struck a naval mine and sunk. His brave decision to plow ahead with his flagship leading the way through the minefield paid off, as the Union ultimately won the battle and the Confederate forces at Fort Gaines and Fort Morgan were forced to surrender.
Today you can tour the fort, which includes some newer fortifications dating from the early 20th century that were used all the way through World War II. They also have a small museum full of artifacts from the battle and the soldiers that fought and died here. This piece of Alabama history is definitely worth exploring.
The best way to get between Dauphin Island and Fort Morgan on the opposite side of the bay is a trip on the Mobile Bay Ferry. This is a popular option for people making a day trip over to Dauphin Island from Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
We made a one-way trip over to Fort Morgan at the end of our visit, and the scenery was absolutely worth it. Along with its sister across the bay, Fort Morgan played a key role in the defense of Mobile Bay. The fort was completed in 1834, and 30 years later during the Civil War it faced a major attack by the Union forces against the Confederate garrison.
The fort was heavily bombarded, catching the main barracks building on fire. The garrison's gunpowder supply had to be thrown into the water to keep it from exploding in the inferno, forcing the garrison to surrender.
Like Fort Gaines, Fort Morgan was used all the way up through the World Wars of the 20th century, with more modern fortifications being added both inside and outside the original structure.
Back on Dauphin Island, it was time for some food, and Pirate's Pizza and wings sounded like exactly what we wanted after a long drive and hours of exploring.
Jess ordered a supreme pizza that was absolutely covered in toppings.
Price ordered a basket of lemon pepper wings that were also cooked to perfection. Once we had thoroughly stuffed ourselves, it was time for an afternoon nap.
We drove back down to Cadillac Square, a public park that was the site of the French colonial governor's residence way back in the day. Now it's a beautiful park with plenty of shade trees that are perfect for hammocks.
Not far from Cadillac Square is another public park with some interesting history, Indian Shell Mound Park. The park's main feature is, you guessed it, Indian shell mounds.
These were created by Native American tribes that inhabited the island for thousands of years before European settlement. These days it's a small nature reserve that's very popular with bird watchers and has some beautiful spots with plenty of tropical plants.
The final park we visited was also the largest and definitely our favorite. The Audubon Bird Sanctuary covers 164 acres and has several miles of walking trails.
The sanctuary contains several types of habitats and of course tons of different birds. We recommend visiting in the early morning, as the morning light filtering through the trees makes it extra special.
Our favorite parts were the boardwalk and pond, sand dunes, and live oak trees. We saw several different types of birds, including a nesting pair of ospreys, which are always cool to see.
This guy was just taking a nap in a tree by the pond. We almost didn't even notice him. Dauphin Island is well known with bird watchers, and it's easy to see why.
In the evening, we had dinner at another local gem, Islanders. This popular restaurant is located right across from the main public beach, and it's a neat little place.
We enjoyed the live music as we chowed down on our appetizer of delicious sauteed crab legs. I had the fish of the day with potatoes, broccoli, and hush puppies, and it was all very tasty.
Alabama's Gulf Coast has some amazing beaches, and Dauphin Island is no exception. After dinner, we enjoyed the great spring weather with an evening walk on the beach.
It was so peaceful and relaxing. Even the birds were out enjoying themselves. The beach wasn't crowded either, which was surprising considering it was spring break.
Dauphin Island is known as Alabama's sunset capital, and it definitely lives up to the name. The views of the sunset over the water were spectacular. From the fascinating marine life of the Alabama Aquarium,
To the legendary Civil War history of Fort Gaines,
to the birdwatcher's paradise at the Audubon Bird Sanctuary.
on Dauphin Island you can find a simple, intimate, laid-back haven to get away from it all and find your inner islander.
We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like what we do, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and let us know your thoughts in the comments.
You can also join our Patreon for early access to our videos, behind-the-scenes looks at how we film our videos, detailed info on our plans for future episodes, and more exclusive content. For more information, visit patreon.com/sparksofdiscovery.
Thanks for watching Sparks of Discovery.